Your unique story, our global audience. Global One Media.
Welcome, everyone, to Global One Media's exclusive one-on-one interviews with company executives sharing insights into their unique journey. This is a platform to help investors make informed decisions. I'm your host, Ashley Berry, and we're thrilled you're joining us. Today, Andrew Kiguel is here, the co-founder and CEO of Tokens.com. It's a publicly listed company that provides investors with a simple and secure way to invest in the cryptocurrencies that power decentralized finance and non-fungible tokens. They're listed on the NEO exchange in Canada as COIN, the Frankfurt Stock Exchange as 76M, and the OTCQB in the US as SMURF. Andrew, welcome.
Hi, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Let's start out with maybe you could give us a little bit of an overview about Tokens.com, its mission and vision, and really just the story behind it all.
Yeah. The story really starts well before Tokens.com. I was an investment banker for 20 years. I was sort of the guy that wore the suit and the tie and, went into work every day. And the way I became accustomed to getting exposure to various industries was through public stocks. So if I was looking to get exposure to gold, technology, oil and gas, whatever it was, I would do that by selecting various stocks. As I started becoming intrigued in my career with blockchain back in 2016, I realized that for public market investors, there really wasn't an avenue to get that exposure. And diving into it, I realized that it's pretty complicated. I mean, Ashley, I don't know if you've ever had to open up a crypto wallet, but figuring out how to secure it, the passcodes, the private keys, how does the ledger work? How do you, function all this stuff? It can be quite daunting. So my idea was, why not create a company that held a whole bunch of these assets, take that public, and by virtue of it being public, you would get that exposure through a public company. And that's really the story behind Tokens.com and the company that I co-founded prior to that, which is called ahold, which is traded on the NASDAQ now. So that was really the genesis. Can we create a vehicle that owns assets and holds businesses that are growing quickly, are exciting, and can be traded through a public company?
And I can imagine that people really need that. And so you providing that truly valuable to them. How do you cater to investors and why do you emphasize Web3 assets in your offerings?
It's an area that's very hard for people to get a hold of. And so when you look at the verticals within Tokens.com, and today we act as a parent company and we have 3 different business units within the business. One is transaction processing on the blockchain. The other one is Web3 gaming. And then we have one that focuses on the metaverse. Mm-hmm. They're all really exciting. They're growing quickly. But again, they're things that aren't available anywhere else. We're a very unique story in that as a public company, there's no one else doing what we're doing the way we do it.
Fantastic. You mentioned the metaverse. What excites you most about them and maybe the assets that Tokens currently holds?
So we hold a whole bunch of different assets. For example, we own a whole bunch of Ethereum, we own Polkadot, we own Solana. And what we do with these assets is we do something called staking, crypto staking. And what that means is without using it as collateral, really it's just by providing validation services for transactions, we earn additional tokens. And so that's been a very interesting part of our business where we have these liquid tokens and we're earning this money sort of by passively holding them. On the Metaverse Group side, what we've done there is very unique. We went and we bought NFTs that represent land holdings. And so Metaverse Group, our subsidiary, is considered one of the largest metaverse landlords on the planet. And the metaverse is one of those things that became extremely popular back in 2021. We were into it before Facebook did this very large pivot by changing their name and their business strategy. And we were sort of part of that ride up. And what I would say that was, for me, interesting at that time, the term metaverse was sort of taken and became this marketing term that was applied to all of these things. Right. And when Facebook or Meta didn't quite deliver on those, people seemed to lose interest, at least from a public company standpoint. But from our standpoint, we continue to win all these clients. And the best way to think about it is there's a limited amount of space in the metaverse. we were able to sort of buy up plots of land, which allow us to control what is being done on those plots of land. And I'll give you an example of some of the things we've done that are very cool. We hold on our land, there's the Metaverse fashion show. The second annual one was just held. We're still collecting the data, but for the first one, there were over 100,000 visitors that came to that show. So it's modeled after the fashion shows you might find in London, Milan, or New York, but we democratize access because through your computer, you can go, you can create your avatar, you can attend after parties, you can watch the catwalks, you can buy clothing, either physical or virtual. And so it's part of democratizing that because, I always joke around that if I showed up at the Milan fashion show, I would never get in. But in the virtual world, I can go there and I can participate and feel like I'm part of something interesting. And, when you look at the names of the groups that have participated in this, that have done on our land or that we've helped, it's, DKNY, Dolce & Gabbana, Tommy Hilfiger, Forever 21. Mm-hmm. These are just, a select group of probably over 50 different international brands that have come and have worked with us in terms of what we're doing in the metaverse.
That is fascinating. I have to imagine with the Gen Z and millennial audience, this is wildly popular. You mentioned that there have been key milestones really for years, but what's your primary objectives for 2023 and beyond?
Our primary objectives are to continue to grow these businesses. They're all based on owning assets, which I think is a key part of our story, in that we have assets that back up these businesses. And then it's to continue to find ways to generate revenue from it. So again, on the staking side, we are in the process of generating more tokens through our ownership. On the Metaverse Group side, we've been helping some, really what are called Fortune 500 names. We are ready to launch very soon with one of the top accounting firms in the world. We did a launch recently for one of the largest home builders in the United States, where we had model homes that we recreated in the metaverse. And as a visitor, Ashley, this is very cool. You could go in, walk around the house, like where's the bathroom relative to the garage, to the front door, how big is the backyard? And then you could customize it. You could say, I'd like a different backsplash in the kitchen. I'd like to change the color of the staining on the hardwood floor. I'd like to have a different type of pendant, hanging in the living room. By doing all this, you could customize to what your preferences are, and then click a link that will connect you to a representative from the company. That's very innovative and very cool. And again, part of some of the things that are sort of revolutionizing the way not just arts and fashion are done, but we're also trying to revolutionize the way real estate is done. And so back to your question, what are the goals for this year? We want to continue to expand. We want to continue to build revenue. These are all relatively new businesses, and we're super excited to continue to help them to grow.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Sounds like really some terrific innovations here. Any specific catalysts that investors should be aware of? And why is tokens.com an attractive investment opportunity, aside from everything you've already mentioned at this moment in particular?
Yeah, so the catalysts for us are really to continue to grow these businesses. And we haven't talked about the video game sector that we have, where we're currently starting to develop software and develop games for mobile phones that are linked to Web3 and crypto. And so the catalyst for us is, as we continue to build this business, we're operating in what are the fastest growing and most exciting segments in Web3. And if you're an investor, and a lot of what tokens.com is trying to build something that would appeal to me, which is, how do I get exposure to these areas in a way that is understandable to me? And that's always been the public markets. So if you say, I would like to have a small part of my portfolio attached to the growth of these areas, then our share price becomes a very good alternative for you to consider to get that. And that's always been the mission, which is, let's find the interesting things, let's back them up with assets so that there's some actual things behind the company that support it, along with these revenue generating businesses, and give that to public market investors so they get a chance to sort of have a piece of it and grow with us if the industry as a whole grows. And so if you believe that the metaverse, despite sort of some current media setbacks, is going to be a unifying platform in the future for things like AI, financial services delivery, gaming, fashion, concerts, and art, then we're a very good bet because we own those assets. If you think that cryptocurrencies are going to continue to grow and become mainstream, again, we can deliver exposure to that through our assets. And I think those are the things that make us exciting to potential investors.
Certainly a company to keep an eye on, a close eye on, I should say. Andrew Kiguel, co-founder and CEO of tokens.com. It was a true pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for sharing these impressive insights and ideas. We look forward to sharing updates with our audience.
Thank you, Ashley.